Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to talk a little bit about Solana here today, and the fact that we did break free from this rising wedge pattern. That official breakdown is a bearish sign, of course, so keep that in mind. We're going to talk about how much lower this could go. My speculation is a bounce off 51, but that's tentative for the moment because we're still a little early here in this situation. So we'll talk about that and a few other key factors. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe. Even if you're not new to the channel, you're a return viewer, which I have a lot of. Thank you so much for the wonderful feedback. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on what's going to happen next. This coin is interesting to say the least, but it also follows a lot of similar patterns, okay? So we're going to talk about that. We do have potential to bounce as well off about 54, the lower $54 range, with this being a Fibonacci retracement level, but I'm still a little bearish here on the sentiment. I think we are going to see a little bit lower to sweep that lower liquidity level there. So again, either way you look at it, I hope that you learned something here today. Thanks again for watching. Quick heads up, we are partnered with Bitunix, phenomenal exchange. Be sure to check this out. Link down below. Significant benefit rewards if you register with them using my link. They are no KYC, no VPN. That's the reason why we're partnered with them, because a lot of our US and Canadian affiliates or members, rather subscribers, anyone is really just kind of got screwed over by that the whole KYC VPN requirement with a lot of larger exchanges earlier in the year. All right, folks. So what we want to talk about here on the daily isn't too much, honestly, because the narrative hasn't changed yet, right? Because when we look at the moving averages, we're still above all four. We got these key level supports. We are now underneath officially that $58 mark. That is a key level resistance now. We got to presume that's going to work against us moving forward. So the price does bounce back. I think 58 would probably prove to be a resistance level. That said, though, MACD is diverging here, but not officially, so it is losing momentum. We haven't officially broken bearish yet, so please understand we're not in dire straits by any stretch. At this point, the daily is kind of telling us that we still have much more potential for further upside, but I think that upside needs to come with hesitation. What I mean by that is, let's jump over to our Discord here. I want to talk about this. I brought this up in my Bitcoin video earlier today. It's important to recognize that Bitcoin dominance right now is up, and the price of Bitcoin is going down. So subsequently, we see alts dumping, and we can see that pretty clear as day here, where a ton of altcoins are just getting hammered. Okay, so again, just keep that in mind. It's not like it's a terrible thing. It's actually good that happens today, because weekends are notoriously green for altcoins. So this is a good chance that this is the dump before the weekend starts to kind of stabilize. Okay, but again, pay attention to Bitcoin dominance. I think it's an important factor that a lot of us typically overlook. But just to quickly note here, I'll go ahead and remove these previous little bull flag pattern, and just to kind of highlight, again, when you have a rising type of wedge pattern, when you break below that, we have this consolidation here at this level. The price action is notoriously going down from there. It doesn't necessarily mean it goes straight down, it just implies that it goes down to retest the most recent low. Okay, so again, I'm not super concerned just yet. I think 51 would be a decent place to dollar cost average, but I feel like we're going to probably continue down lower. Let's talk about that. The reason why I feel that way is because we're now officially under 50 on the RSI, and the money flow index is joining it as well. So when you see these two things combining together, kind of moving side by side, that's fairly standard. But when they're concurrently underneath 50 on the RSI, that's a significant divergence. And to me, that is a situation where we're a little bit more prone to bearish activities here, or bearish sentiment, right? And then we take that, we look at the MACD still diverging here. This can happen for a very long time. So try not to think that, okay, we've been diverging for 12 to 24 hours. It's going to just turn right around. No, that's not necessarily the case. That doesn't always happen. While it'd be nice, that's a good sentiment, it's not necessarily the way it goes. This is something that is slightly positive, though, and you got to recognize Solana doesn't really care about overextension, but to note, we are at a 9 on TD sequential. So if you took a look here previously, price action hits a 9, pretty much wicks up one more time to sweep that upper level of liquidity on the lower time frames, about $66, sweeps up to 68, and has not looked back ever since. But it did overextend itself here. So now that we're tentatively range bound between, just say, $51 and $68, there's a decent chance we'll see a bounce here soon based on this being an overextended state. And what this overextension is, it's considered TD sequential. You can search for it under indicators. It's pretty straightforward. The one I use, and I like to kind of clarify, I use the one created by Glass. And it's a good indicator because it helps you understand kind of how far things go, because it takes the fourth previous candlestick and continues to count up to a 9. Once you hit a 9, you're considered to be overextended. And it's interesting how this works out, because in a 4-hour time frame, if you multiply that out, that's 36 hours when you hit a 9. oftentimes you'll see two 9s on TD sequential in a row on the 4-hour. That's like a massive overextension. We're halfway through that, if you will. When you see that, that's equivalent to 3 white soldiers, which is 72 hours. That's 3 days of bullish or bearish continuation. So we're halfway through this phase. We've got a day and a half worth of push to the downside. Are we going to see another day and a half, or are we going to see a recover? Comment below, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm always very curious to hear what my traders are thinking. But to me, with us being under 50 on the RSI, I think it's a pretty significant divergence, and we need to kind of be aware of that. Elliott Wave does propose, if this is the lowest point, keep in mind this is just tentative, and this being the lowest point, then we could very well see the price action pull back to these levels here. Okay, so I'll send this on our playout chart here so you can kind of see what that looks like. If we do get a bounce, once more, we got to be mindful of this 0.5 Fibonacci level. We can see $61.15 as that potential resistance. So hypothetically, the price pulls up. We could very well see the price reject there, create our lower high and our lower low. That's a very standard thing you see in, in trading as far as ABC patterns are concerned, following a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so again, I don't think that's necessarily the exact truth that we're going to just get a bounce here, but there are some things leaning towards that. Okay. Last thing we want to look at here, and this is probably going to confirm bearish sentiment here as well, is if we're under the cloud. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that we are, but what is it telling us here? Well, it's telling us to leave our short position open if we have one. Our conversion line is below the baseline. We've got tons of momentum, and the cloud is consolidating there at about $58. So simply put, the price does recover. We could very well see a rejection at 58 and then come down lower. So I'm going to plan an entry on a short position here at about 58 to 61 as potential entry targets for me if this coin does recover. Okay? But again, if it doesn't continue higher and it goes sideways, there's still potential for the price action to sweep those lower liquidity levels at 51 and then recover. Okay? So to me, I think 51 to 61 is more so the range we're going to be stuck within, and whether it increases or decreases in the immediate future is up to the coin. I prefer not to take an entry here and try to take a quick scalp. We'll let our day trading bots do that, but what I would rather do is wait for the price to come up here, get this overextension here, and play that, play a short off 61, potentially average into that position at 57, and then alternately maybe consider a long at 51. But this is kind of a no man's land in my personal opinion. Just because this indicator tells us we should keep your short position open doesn't imply you should jump into one. Okay, but again, there's still a decent sized chance the price will continue lower to 51. So again, you pick what you choose to do. Choose your destiny, right? Let me know what you decide. Again, I'm excited to hear it in the comments below. And again, thanks again to the wonderful Solana community. I've got some really cool followers here now based on me covering this video here, or this coin consistently. So deeply appreciate it. I'll keep them coming. Thank you so much again for the wonderful feedback, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And again, just be careful, be cautious, try not to go use too much leverage right now with this funky, really indecisive moment right now, where Bitcoin is likely due to correct further. And if that happens, we're going to see the same thing from Solana. Just be mindful of that. All right, folks, have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.